the nominations for members of parliament, the process was concluded this week, and of course it was a time for both fanfare and anguish, as those who were duly nominated were celebrating, but also there were claims of others who were unfairly treated and blocked from nominations. We'll be also looking at other emerging issues, especially that this political campaign has entered a new phase. We had the presidential campaigns running, but now we have very many politicians running around the country, of course, selling their manifestos and hoping to occupy positions of responsibility. What are those messages they are putting out, and what can we expect as we cross over into another period of intensive campaigning? My name is Prince Apollo once again, but I take the pleasure and honor to introduce my panel, and Dr. Werihe Wanzala is a resident panelist, but he is a public policy researcher, but also an associate lecturer at Uganda Management Institute. Welcome to the show. It's been 2 weeks, but here we are.
Yeah, thank you, Apollo. I'm sure our people missed us last week, but we are happy to be back.
Sure.
Good morning, our viewers, and special greetings to citizens of my my republic, the United Republic of Chirinya, and of course, Vubulo County East.
All right. Thank you so much. And Dr. Wanzara, how was your week quickly before I cross over to Richard, especially the Republic?
No, the Republic is stable. We are seeing emerging forces of red tackling blue, and I think there's much opposition that side, opposition against the yellow camp, but we're yet to see more.
Sure.
Nothing much except observing what happened in the week, which is subject of our discussion today.
Thank you. Richard Baguma, I don't know how to introduce him. He now carries very many hats, and I'm concerned if he won't crumble under the weight of those many hats. Retired, but back into action. And Richard, I know you would want to comment on that fatal accident, but we will have time for that. We want to dedicate some few minutes for that. Speak to our viewers before we kick off the big show.
So thank you, the Almighty, of course. Thank you, Lord, for enabling us to come here and to share our perspectives with the people who watch us. Thank you for the viewers.
How can I introduce you?
Who patronize us. You call me the Son of God.
Oh.
And I greet you, and I greet my colleagues. Today, I missed the memo.
Yeah.
I missed the fashion memo. I think there was a pink theme to the shirts that you are putting on. I missed the fashion memo. My apologies to you.
Why should you apologize when you are in your NRA uniform?
But the week, Apollo, has been very mixed. Sure. On one hand, I am absolutely sad and quite unhappy about this road carnage.
Yeah.
And you said we'll talk about it, but I'm quite unhappy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you see, that is unfortunate because it comes to spoil my week where, as the United Nations Association, we were commemorating the 80th birthday of the United Nations. Yesterday, we were commemorating the 80th birthday of the United Nations. It's 80 years old. And the 10th anniversary of this implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals. So we had a twin celebration. I met groups of young people. Very interesting, the newly voted youth leaders in this city. Yeah, you know, so it was a mixed sadness and sweetness. That comes on top of my heart, the one you are talking about, the latest heart of chairing the board of the Uganda Cancer Society. I was unopposed in that position. I am hoping that I can make a contribution. You know, Apollo, as I conclude, I know you want to ask me. We have, at the Cancer Institute alone, at the Uganda Cancer Institute in Mulago, we have more than 14 new cancer cases every single day.
14 new cancer
Every
cases.
single day. So you have a Kamunye full of new cancer patients. We are not talking about the existing ones. At one health center, we are not talking about all the other health centers in the country. And so that's the burden that we have.
And that's also the responsibility now you carry.
So, yeah, and that's why I thank God that of all the, I don't know how many millions of Ugandans, it is me taking this responsibility.
Wish you the best.
Thank you.
Honorable Joseph Ochieno is the waiting president of Uganda People's Congress, a senior citizen, but also an ideologue in the Uganda People's Congress. Welcome to the big show.
Thank you very much, Apple. It's been some time. I think it's very unfortunate that you called me the president in waiting, and I have to wait for a period longer than the time NRA spent to cause havoc in Luweero. Allegedly,
What a comparison.
because allegedly elections had been rigged in 1980, and which rigging of elections we've now spent 40 years with NRA completely in charge, and there has not been a single proof of evidence. Away from the propaganda of the other day, I found in one of my media forum rather irritatingly that, oh, people so and so was stopped at a roadblock, so they're blocked from a nomination, since this is what we're going to be discussing. The person, Gerald, the researcher, that is most apparent that I know of, was a gentleman who stood on a DP ticket against Dr. Moses Apiliga in Moyo. Turns out that this guy later worked with the Electoral Commission, and I think he passed on only recently. And turns out that 2 days to nominations, they met in Kampala. Of course, these are natives. And maybe it's a message for younger voters and possibly contemporary candidates. Dr. Apiliga was able to offer this gentleman a ticket that let's fly to Arua, tomorrow. I'll pay for the ticket. The gentleman declined. Now, Apiliga was relatively privileged. Those days are like these days. Doctors, anybody who graduates from Makerere is an automatic upper middle class average. But Apiliga has been lucky, had already been a young doctor to President Kenneth Kaunda, amongst many others. So he was fairly an okay guy, part of this consultative process. And so, so he said we fly together. And this gentleman of DP declined. Quite clearly, that was a post-war period of Idi Amin. Amin was still threatening West Nile, and West Nile, unfortunately, people have continued to suffer. People who were facing, targeted revenge from anti-Amin peoples and things like that. And at the same time, Amin's own forces who had not completely come to terms with we had a change of government. But side by side with that was DP that was funding protests, particularly in Uganda, and NRA that had completely resolved that they didn't want multi-party elections. So these roadblock things was not about candidates, but quite clearly state of security. So this gentleman decides to travel from Kampala on the morning of nominations. Now, you ask about the week. The week before last, I traveled to West Nile, in fact. And the journey from just merely Pakwach, forget even about Nebi, to Kampala, it's a long journey, including on the road that we're going to be discussing. And then with 2-3 roadblocks today, meaning 1 or 2 police road. But at the time, quite clearly common sense. So the guy misses the mark, and poor UPC.
He was not nominated.
He was not, because he reached late, and poor UPC was blamed for it. But to say the least, I was just like Richard, and I think all Ugandans, very saddened by the tragedy that happened on Gulu Road. And in any case, we will discuss. I am a direct victim. Very close family members died on road accidents, and particularly on that road, as a big family. So that is sad. But as we'll discuss, if there was a UPC government, it would be a different situation, but we'll discuss that. But then finally, of course, early in the week, I returned from Kenya, where I was consoled by the fact that I was able to be in Bondo, in Siaya, to see one of Africa's best, one of Africa's most.
Where Raila was buried.
Yeah, Raila Odinga, yes. And in the last few days, the more I now see it in a settled way, the more I actually find him rather more extraordinary than sometimes I think. The ability to be cheated massively and still continue smiling and go ahead and shake hands with the opponent. People who compared it with the Nelson Mandela, that's neither here nor there. In fact, I could easily be controversial to say that only this one, I'm not sure Mandela was as tasted as Raila. But anyway, a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Honorable Chieno Joseph. And now we kick off the big show. So tragic to have 46 people perish in a road crash along Kampala-Gulu Highway. And the preliminary report from Uganda Police, the Directorate of Traffic, indicated that the cause of the road crash was recklessness from the side of the drivers, and of course resulting from overspeeding and dangerous overtaking. And that's the common cause of accidents in Uganda, and our hearts and thoughts go to the bereaved families and the victims who are nursing injuries in hospitals. It is saddening, so saddening. I imagine, Doctor, if such a tragedy happens in developed countries, it becomes a big issue. I don't know if we gave it the attention it deserves.
No,
I don't know.
Actually, this morning on our road safety platform, we have been discussing that road crash, and we have sharp people who were able to collect news clips from Australia, from they are covering the road carnage in Uganda more than ourselves. The concern in Australia about us, and in the video you see they show borders.
Yeah.
By the way, this week we lost this girl here.
Oh, that very
UCU student.
Exactly,
Angela.
the law student. It was really painful.
But you lost more than that one.
Yes, I say we lost that
There
one.
was
but we have already
another.
talked,
There was another two also.
you can imagine.
Who died on.
So the video shows how reckless we are riding. When the traffic lights show green, you want to go, and you see a mob of say 50 borders crossing in front of you. So you decide to exercise the restraint and leave them to go. And in some circumstances, you find even the police now, because they're overwhelmed, they will now look at you as a problem, because the red lights found you in the middle of the road because you're saving the borders and their passengers. So for me, I don't want to go left, right, center, but we are having a leadership question. This is about leadership because Richard here can tell you, for the last 4-5 years, how many laws have we strengthened regarding regulation, be it child restraint, be it helmet use, be it use of seat belts, be it the application of technology. When we pushed for introduction of technology in regulating speed and behavior change on the road, some people saw an opportunity to rip off Ugandans by coming up with exorbitant charges without even being sure of the accuracy of the system. So it became a kind of money-minting thing that caused opposition from the public. But we have proposed issues of we see that the buses, the trailers, they need the cameras in because it has been tested in other countries that when they know they are being monitored by this camera on the bus, then they are more conscious about their actions on the road because they may earn a sack by driving recklessly on the road. That is why when even the president in his statement said this accident, for us we say it's not an accident, it's a road crash. You see how it happens. You are probably climbing, you don't know what's coming there, you overtake, you have two big vehicles on the road, you know, you don't know what's coming from the other side. It's about recklessness. Then at night, enforcement of drink driving, the use of alcohol, and at most crashes around town here, by the way, at night, out of influence of alcohol and other substances. You see all bars are packed in Bugorobi and other places with cars and people are drinking up to 3 a.m. So, and when they leave, they all leave with their cars. So you know that they are a danger to other road users. So, and many of them add these lights that are beyond, you know, like me who wears glasses. Sometimes when I see those lights, I may be unable to even continue. So it's a leadership question. In the modern era, we can't say that border is the main means of transport in a modern city. The world is moving towards mass transportation, environmentally friendly, affordable, and this calls for expansion of the infrastructure. You know, it's a combination. But now here we have turned border into a political weapon, which we can organize, give money, say we support you. Now, about 3 presidential candidates, each of them is promising to cut the price of about like the 4
of border borders.
To cut them. So they want more border borders in the city. So it's a big problem.
It's a big problem. Richard, how do you absorb this news of 46 people in a single incident perishing? Well, the numbers are very many, but I'm talking about this specific incident.
It is. It's quite. You are sad, but you're angry. You know, it's a mixture of emotions. But also, it kind of strengthened my resolve to remain in this field of road safety. I was because it made me reflect. I was starting to, you know, when I get into initiatives, movements, where you find people are relatively, they are not so big in their thinking. They are looking at small grants and things, and they are tearing in all directions. I start stepping back usually. I belong to the leadership of the Road Safety Coalition, and you know, trying to build networks and constituencies. Werike belongs to that as well now. But you see, there are people who are there and they are looking at quick gains. Yeah. So, but now I am resolved. That's really resolved. You said, but this, we can't just leave it to small grants, you know, issues, small salary, careerism around this. So that's one of the impacts it has had on me. So out of my anger and frustration, I thought about this. So it's not lack of regulations or laws, or even a national plan. We have a national plan. It's not lack of commitments. We have made commitments to the world. We signed up to the Sustainable Development Goals globally. You know, when the leaders met on the Sustainable Development Goals, the resolution it's a target written in there that we should reduce by 50% the deaths on the roads by 2030. The trajectory we have is we are going the opposite direction. Yeah, we are going the opposite direction.
The numbers are growing.
So it's not shortage. We fought. Werike knows we did a lot of advocacy, and the money for road safety was increased. But just to the ministry. The mistake we have is the thinking that road safety is just the Ministry of Transport thing. It's a disastrous thinking. The Ministry of Transport is not responsible for your bus driver. Is not responsible for the recklessness
of your driver.
No, come on. We don't have an association of bus owners or truck owners. We have proposed very simple and relatively cheap technology. He has just talked about it. We proposed this. It was totally opposed. Every innovation you bring,
have cameras
they
inside
come
those
out
vehicles
to fight
recording
against that. Why? Why? It's very simple technology. Cameras to be connected to your phone and you monitor. This is very simple. We have proposed that instead of writing in the books, because you see, we have these operations that have been attempted and they have done good work where they are operating, Fika Salama. But you see, they come and write in the book at what time the bus arrived at the checkpoint. We said, no, let's do, if in all your offices you are doing the thumb, I forget the name. Why don't we do the thumb? Because the thumb is harder to manipulate. We will know the time. Yeah. And if you look at the statistics, and we have been discussing this with my colleagues in the Road Safety Coalition, where you find Fika Salama checkpoints, beyond where there are Fika Salama checkpoints, you find a spike in bus and truck crashes. We don't call them accidents. We refuse to call them accidents. Accident, the language has a sense of inevitability. It happened despite. But these ones are not accidents. These are careless crashes. They are not inevitable. They are preventable. So we are dealing with this, and we have tried to introduce this. And what happens is
you propose use of technology.
We have proposed simple technology, simple thumb printing at checkpoints, camera monitoring. The cameras, you see, have a little inbuilt system which creates an alarm when it detects that the driver is dozing. Because part of the problem is fatigue. Just fatigue. It's been one of the problems of whatever. So and these have been applied, and they are relatively cost effective. But the bus owners, the bus drivers will get on the streets to fight them. Because you see, they're the ones breaking. Yes, every time you go beyond Fika Salama, the bus points of Fika Salama, they shift and give the bus to this one who is the conductor. So what's killing? And
what about the concern that?
So it's a governance problem. It's a leadership problem. It's a governance problem. Once you start to implement, the president comes out and says, yeah. It's the same problem we have with alcohol, same problem we have with roads. He is our greatest impediment.
Who?
The president, my chairman, President General Yoweri Museveni. He's our greatest impediment. Every time we come, they run to him. They are the people around him. They are the ones, the bus owners, they are the ones sponsoring these campaigns, providing fuel and buses. They go and mislead him. But he's very sharp. Why does he allow to be misled?
From the communication point of view, he also raised the concern of this issue not being given the due attention. We feel like it's now these such accidents, fatal accidents,
crashes,
are a normal thing.
Crashes
are a normal thing.
You see, human beings are creatures of conditioning. Human beings are creatures of conditioning. They get conditioned and get blunt.
Life goes on.
Yeah, you know. They are human beings. Mammals, actually. They are creatures of conditioning. So that's why, for me, we must go to the highest level. We must go to President Museveni and say, please, don't stand in a way of implementing these things. These things have been piloted, tested elsewhere. We must do them here.
It's so serious when the head of state is...
Yeah, and just to interject something, we are talking of a country when a road crash happens, like that in Kiriandongo, the police will run, collect everybody who seems to be dead and throw them in the mortuary. Then they release a statement that 63 people have died. And then later the doctors begin checking one by one. They find others are still alive, but are piled together. The healthcare system, do we even have a system to care for people of road crashes? So it is better we minimize. We minimize the occurrence of this other than waiting for them to happen, because we don't have the capacity to overwhelm our health centers with how many districts now have district referral hospitals? They are less than 80. So
this default position that, okay, 5 million, 1 million, 5 million, 1 million. Default position.
Condolences.
Excuse me.
Joseph, Honorable Joseph, what do you What do you make of this?
You know, you guys, when I came in a short while ago, I actually wasn't joking about the fact that I delayed you guys by a few minutes. While I was actually driving, I was also very conscious of this. That these are the realities, but I have to play responsibilities. As my colleagues have said, I saw my niece to an abroad location the other day to Entebbe, and one of the conversations we're having is that I am amongst the people who hoot the most. In some Scandinavian countries, I would be committing offenses every stage, in part because you've got to warn borders, warn pedestrians, and sometimes warn fellow motorists, and sometimes you say what, and then you clearly see this guy is riding the other way, and then yesterday this young guy comes and sweeps across, and then you hoot, and then he wants to slap you if you could over the mirror. No, but the bottom line is, as my colleague said, it's a governance issue. And why I'm holding back, I don't know. Sometimes Gerald here, once in a while, possibly I taunt him. He possibly thinks I patronize him too much because he's on the younger side of the species. And sometimes when I look back to the last amazingly 20 years, you know, Tito Kello say we song, and song. You know, so you talk until your voice goes hoarse, and then you wonder, what is it to do? But like Richard says, we have to keep going. I don't want to forget, Gerald, Kiriadongo Hospital, Bujiri Hospital, and I don't know which two others, apparently, were strategically, deliberately planned. Now for Bujiri, I think it is,
I think it was Kaolo and
forget about the general number, but this one in terms of road networks, I think it is, I think it's Tojo actually, where...
That's Kaolo also.
Yes, where apparently, I was told this by Patrick Monda, so you can see why it's important, some of the things, and generational issues, that part of the strategic national thinking was that Bujiri, one, near the border, and then two, in case of emergencies, what beefing kind of do you do? National strategic planning. And I found that extraordinary. There is a member of parliament from somewhere in Bunyoro, a doctor, I think it's a PhD doctor. I met him at an event with my young friend, the deputy speaker, and after taunting me about the suffering that I always suffer around UPC versus NRA guys, he came back to say that actually you guys, you're fantastic. Then he said, every time I pass the hospital down after Hoima, Kagadi, he says, every time I pass Kagadi, I wonder, what did Obote have in mind? He was very specific. What did Obote have in mind to throw this hospital all this way here and it's been like this? You know, partly because the reality today is that, look, you know, who was the powerful guy here? What were we trying to buy? But no, it's national strategic planning. So I start with that. But as I told you guys, I lost close family members in a multiple tragedy involving one family, huge. And so I have orphans in my household as a result of a road accident, and specifically on that road. Gerald, every time I travel, particularly to West Nile, somehow I avoid that road, really from a traumatic experience, but two, out of caution. And then three, I was telling another program the other day that interestingly, I would rather feel comfortable taking the crooked Hoima road. Because although it's as bad, in fact worse now with those several potholes, I think it is not as busy and speedy. The points my colleagues are talking about. This road is narrow, this road is busy, this road is fast, but is it a single factor? No, it's multiple. I don't know the the composition of your audience, the people watching. But it's actually official that one of the biggest tragedies in the last few days has been the fact that we criminally lost 46 Ugandan citizens. And there is nothing national about this tragedy.
Yeah.
And that we lost 46 Ugandans. And this bunch of men, 8 of them, candidates, none of them said, bang guys, we halt the campaigns for 2-3 days to mourn. None. Just think about it. In a normal country, and you talk about Western countries when you're referring earlier to Gerald. No, it does not have to be Western countries. We are decent human citizens alone. In any other average country, and in fact under a UPC administration, somebody would have to take responsibility.
Yeah.
Either minister, somebody from road safety, policing, whatever, somebody somebody would have to take responsibility for this. Number 3.
Actually, this is not the first
Yes.
major road crash.
The responsibility is somewhere.
But the response
You
we
are
have
going
been
to sacrifice lower guys for nothing.
No, but you know,
You are sacrificing lower guys
in
for
which
nothing.
case then allow me to conclude this actually.
Okay, conclude.
When I was saying somebody ought to take responsibility, you know, I am saying if it is not some minister, in fact, somebody ought to take responsibility. Because why I was invoking this candidature and President Uchendu is not on the ballot, thanks to these guys, you know, the sitting government would take political responsibility. And because it's a campaign time, Mr. Museveni would have to plead treble in order not to lose 10% votes in these elections across the national divide on this, whether or not he actually granted days of national mourning, let alone the fact of insulting Ugandan citizens with 5 million shillings to a bereaving family.
You call it insulting.
No, it's a total insult. It's unacceptable.
He gave out condolences. Richard, I was saying this is not the first time. This is not the first major road crash where, and we have seen the response as in calling off the bus company to as investigations go on. But what comes out of these investigations and then what happens next? Because I hope that will be the immediate response, perhaps, if they saying we have now stopped this bus company from operating for at least 2 weeks or 3 weeks. But what happens next?
No, tokenism.
It will still be a smokescreen, according to Richard, which is true.
It is criminal tokenism.
Yeah.
It is just criminal tokenism. It is very possible.
Actually, they just suspend operations.
And we can just look around us. In the neighborhood of ours here around, the same people whom we share names, we share culture. They do not have this level of road carnage. We can see private sector led. Those are really private sector led funded programs. So for me, it's a governance question. It is this total indifference, political indifference. It is this knowing that generally you are above these threats. It is, all of you are above these threats.
It doesn't matter.
You have convoys carrying you. You are generally, they can go and, those guns can go and perish.
But we have seen big people lose lives in these accidents. We have seen.
And you've seen the reactions, the brief reactions, the momentary
You can see the
reactions.
knee jerk. You can see somebody dies, knee jerk reaction, helicopter there to pick them, and so it's not a lack of laws and regulations. We have put laws and regulations. This is what Werike was talking, and Parliament was very supportive. The Parliamentary Forum on Road Safety was very strong and very supportive. We really pushed. Road safety, I think, used to get 900 million for the whole year. We pushed. It went to 5 or 6 billion. Now I'm told there is even more. You see, Apollo, how come the companies that have huge numbers of trucks, and we know them, the companies that distribute, have zero record
Of accidents.
of crashes? I don't call them accidents. We know what we need to do.
But we can't do it.
So we have no will
There's no political will.
to do it. And that's why, how can then one remain calm? We are supposed to remain calm, keep, civil fear that we are going to be clamped down. But the roads are clamping us down. Really.
And can I say,
Say it and we conclude.
Another quick
Say
lost,
it and we
wasted
conclude.
opportunity. Gerald, you are the researcher. Notwithstanding everything else, some experts, in quote, have confined this to the size of the road. True. Indeed, we really, Kampala Gulu, to date after independence, we actually needed New Carriageway. And I actually say that's the feeder road to the Great North Road, although the primary one is across Kenya. Just like you can see the Trans-Africa Highway that passes via Mabera, you see it state. The things that some of us were studying as early as our primary school. So where are we, if you consider some of the big thinking ideas that Richard was talking about? And just the other day we're burying the Africa infrastructure guru Raila Odinga. Where's leadership? Where's governance? It's campaign time. Do you know what? The road size, just about one of it.
The roads are narrow.
Guys, I told a television network elsewhere, had the infrastructure system been comprehensive, maybe 50% of the people who died would have been going home by train. Maybe 10% of them would have been on public service buses at a particular time. Maybe 1% of the deaths, and still 1% is not, would have been flying. It is much more expensive for me to make a one-way journey to Gulu or Arua or to Kitgum or indeed or to Kabale, driving, than to take a domestic flight. And when we say this, people say there's no change. No, it's not massively crude. An average domestic flight should be about $100 or thereabout. That's equivalent of the amount of money that people pay for this. People need to understand this, and the young viewers, the population in this country ought to know that they're being shortchanged. And considering it's a campaign time, I really hope that Ugandans, and young guys aside, people need to begin to say that no, this thing cannot continue like this. We can't play with our lives like this.
Sure. Thank you so much, Honorable Joseph Ochieno. Thank you so much, Richard and Dr. Willie Wanzala. And you viewers can also pick it up from there. Send in your comments and observations. Tell us what you think about these issues. We are discussing on the dialogue, and we'll be reading those comments. Send them by WhatsApp, send them by SMS. And my biggest concern is the less regard for life, that we can now see. That even, I don't know if it is because we are in a campaign frenzy or political season, but 46 lives perish and we move on as usual.
Business as usual, yeah.
Business as usual.
I think
it's a serious concern.
Just a minute, Apollo. I think we just don't value. We have degraded Ugandans, ordinary Ugandans. We don't value them as Ugandans enough. You have seen one of the biggest budgets these days under the president's office goes to these ceremonies. When someone they know who is connected to them or to the government dies, because they know they will go somewhere for burial, cook rice, and then the whole village will enjoy the meat, they will rush to declare official. And the headlines also, the New Vision, Monitor and others have now picked it up. You see the headline reading, President Museveni gives official burial. President buried so and so. So the president has become a giver of burials. We don't even have outlines on who receives it, who qualifies or not.
Let alone the circumstances of the death.
The death, exactly. But you can, have 40 people die in rubbish in Kitezi.
Imagine.
A disaster that we watched coming from 10, 15 years ago. And it goes normal. What Richard talked about, the 1 million and 5 million. So we have attached a price to these lives. Today, Richard can tell you this is evidence. We lose about a kamunye of border people every day. People who die on border in Uganda, about 12 to 14 daily, times the number of days in a year. That is so
and
huge.
the candidates are promising to subsidize on the importation of more borders in this country.
Exactly. So for us in the civil society, we are talking about Day of Remembrance, to try to highlight, as we use the weeks to sensitize, but we're also trying to show the government the burden. We did a study under road safety about the economic cost, the economic cost of road crashes in Uganda in respect to lives and post-crash care. It is so huge. A person breaks the legs, the next day cannot go back to work, the whole family is suffering. Leave alone those who die. But we have over 20,000 people every year affected by this. Either someone is lame, the broken hand. It's just too much.
And of course some injuries are permanent. Some impairments are permanent.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Most of these.
The person's
Most of these, yes.
productivity is compromised.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They become dependents.
Oh my.
The third party is like more of a tax. It is useless.
Gentlemen, we have only 5 minutes to the break, but we can quickly now switch gears to another topic, and we hope sanity prevails, because when you like Honorable Sheno said, when you drive through this city and you see the confusion on the roads, then you know that this is inevitable. It's a time bomb. It is an accident waiting to happen. It's inevitable. And the sad part of it is that, like Richard said, it has become normal, and even it has become a political issue that you cannot even dare. You can not even dare to make anything right out of it.
Yeah, we self-censor. We sit here, we are self-censoring, we are afraid of talking, we have been intimidated so much, we have been squeezed, and so this is how society is wrought, really. That you go promising that for you, the wealth creation you are promising the young people of this country is to add them these corruptions. I call them corruptions because we don't have them as second-hand corrupt. So you are bringing these corruptions to kill them more, to maim them more. That's what you are promising for economic transformation, really. But we are taking it. We have become such a society that we are cheering that. That's what we are taking. And so they say, young girl has died in university. 2 others died the other day. I heard the police spokesperson saying the person who knocked them, they think was a driver who is not trained or licensed, and back to the vehicle and took off. These 2 young lives are that. But these are the dramatic ones who come on to the media. I told you I have done 3 hospitals in my just travels around. In Mulago, it's called the border ward.
Apparently.
In Tororo Regional Referral Hospital, it's called the Bajaj ward.
Imagine.
In Barara Regional Referral Hospital, it's the border ward. Body Abba ward. And so these are the 3 I have sampled. I would like to believe that all the regional referrals, and if we're talking about regional referrals, they all have border wards. The implications, we found that we are talking about not less than 4 trillion. 4 trillion. And this is the minimum we could find, the research that
The cost
of road crashes. We found that the minimum we could find
in money
4 trillion
terms,
every year. And we are promising these corruptions in our political campaigns. And the young ones are cheering. This is how low we have sunk.
All right, 5 or 4 minutes to the break, but let me hear from you, Dr. Gerard. Give us a breakdown of what made nominations before we go to a break. What did you pick from this week of nominations?
I think from other spaces where I was yesterday, I said, as a person who teaches, if it was a student, I'm marking, I would say a student passed, okay, to go to the next class. But when I look at the quality of the whole process, because elections now have standards in the world, and these standards are free, fair, credible, verifiable. But now this means that the Electoral Commission should be independent to have a result at every stage of the electoral process that is not influenced by external forces to what they are doing. Now, one, I saw especially opposition candidates, many of them were unable to raise the 3 million nomination fees. I think for me, this year, no, it was last year, I was supporting the African Youth Development Link to do a study about nomination fees and the registration of young people to vote. I discovered that in Kenya, for instance, now, for special interest groups, even these fees were waived because they want bright young people who don't have the resources, but they have the courage and the intelligence to participate. Otherwise, money can be a serious obstacle to citizens' participation. I also saw there are many.
I saw a report that government corrected more than
4 billion. That's the estimate from this week's nomination. Exactly. So why should an election be just a money minting thing? So I saw political parties like the NUP, candidates of UPC and others, many failed to be, even when they had been given the flags, they would not be nominated because the political parties had no money, resources, and the candidates also did not have. So that was challenge number one.
Okay.
Challenge number two was about the debacle that happens in a place like Bukedia district. Was it by design that an independent candidate, an FDC candidate, an NUP candidate are all deleted from the voters register? Is it by magic? Is it and the candidates up to the last moment were crying that the laws say to delete someone from the voters register on account of various reasons, there should be a parish tribunal. And the parish tribunal must create an environment. In the constitution, we have what we call the right to administrative justice, the right to be heard. When were they called? When did they participate? What was their response before they were deleted from the payroll? I think if I was a competitor, especially if I had more resources than my competitors, financially, influence, probably even President Museveni has never gone to the extent of deleting his opponents from the payroll at the age of
voters
80,
register, not payroll.
Voters register. At the age of 81, he's in Acholi, West Nile, looking for votes. He wants to appear to compete. So for me, I would think that this is so unfair. Why are we so obsessed with this unopposed? Unopposed. I saw some candidates of other constituencies, not necessarily for that particular position of the district, being locked, saying go and get clearance from the RDC, from the DPC. When did we have DPC and RDC clear candidates to go for nominations? Then
finally,
we saw areas like Kakumiro, and by the way, by coincidence, by design, these places are where big people come from. Kakumiro, I saw people toast and then said it's 5 p.m. You can't qualify. We saw an imposter in Bukoto Central who turned up and took the flag of the NUP. When the official flag bearer of the NUP turned up, the flag had been given to a different person.
You see a premeditated plan to block some candidates from nominations.
Yes, and if I now relate this, like we, my organization, we applied for accreditation. But many of the for civic education and for observing the process, many of the organizations that are participating, we don't know them. Were they registered by ISO, by government itself? Okay. We don't know. So the process is already showing some red flags.
Red flags. And those are the issues we'll be interrogating in the next hour on the dialogue, looking at what makes, or what will actually make this campaign for members of parliament. We already have the presidential campaigns running. It's now politics full blast, but what does it actually say to the democracy in this country and going forward? Let's go for a break. When we return, the dialogue will delve into those and more, much more issues. Don't go away. We'll return after this short while.
Television, Femunyo.
Salt Media App. Kuuliza program yo ku Salt FM. Era orabe program yo enganzi ku Salt TV. Awatali kwekwata wadde okusikatira ku simu kuli bobera. Ogifuna ku Google Play Store oba ku Apple App Store. Kuwerere onyumre Salt Media efulumya ebitesitaza. Salt Media Femunyo nchidam omunyo gwa namaddala.
wekozesa momo n'oba olina amaanyi g'okutunga ibanja juba hatali okuteganisibwa abasimu yawe imata star 1 star 5 hashi okulondaho aha miringete emwe n'emwe ey'okwehola obase kwehola kasente onayi wakendera kandi sente zaako olyo n'oshashuta ibanja n'obasa kwoniserezaho olikozesa momo advance ekyo niyo momo amaani agali okukuleetera kukiraho.
The temperature of the water that I drink does not really count for hydration. Many times, whether it's cold or hot or warm, all contribute to hydration. However, the temperature improves comfort. So during a hot season, I'd rather take cold water because that gives me a more refreshed feeling. While if I'm having a meal, warm water is better for digestion. So choose the temperature of water that makes you drink water consistently.
Salt Media App. Kuuliriza programu yo ku Salt FM. Era olabe programu yo enganzi ku Salt TV. Awatali kwekwata wadde okusikatira ku simu buli bw'obeera. Ogifuna ku Google Play Store oba ku Apple App Store. Kuweerere onyumire Salt Media efulumya ebiteesittaza. Salt Media ffe munnyo nkiddamu omunnyo gwa nnamaddala. Salt Media yaka 11 tukyusizza obulamu tuleese essuubi tubunyisizza enjiri ya Mukama waffe Yesu Kristo. Salt Media ku myaka 11 buno bwe bujulizi. Ura
ono Serwambala Rosias naye njagala okwebaza Salt Media njebaza okubeera eri creative emyaka gino gyemaze egezezaako okuba nti evumbula oluusi ate byotasanga ku radio ndala. Nina bwe mpuliriza madamu olaba oyo madamu Makula programu yaabwe bwe babeera bagitaddeko nga nina omwana yazze oba waali oba baana ngiteekako n'ensirika n'entumbula nga kyenjagala nti ebigambo bye naali badde oba oli awo ŋŋamba abaana nga balowooza taata alimba ogenda okuwulira nga babyogera. Mbebaza okubeera nti bambi musobodde otuteekateeka
emyaka 11 egya Salt Media omunnyo gusensedde.
Nyinza ntyo buteebaza ku bino ebingi by'okola.
Kampala was the genesis, taking over the city and the outskirts on 107. Now covering the whole nation and beyond. Bududa, Palisa, Budadi, Budaka, Mbale, Sironko, Busia, Tororo, Bukedea, Butaleja, Chibuga, Chankwanzi, Mitiana, Mubende, Chiwale, Chinjojo, Chegegwa, Chiruhura, Zimbabwe, Raka, Gomba, Yantunde, Masaka, Kalungu, Luengo, Butambala, Bukomansimbi, Kagadi, Mbarara, Jinja, Bunyangabu, Toroko, Bundibujo, Kasese, Kamwenge, Chitagwenda, Burahia, Rengoma, Karambi, Muguso.
Anywhere in Uganda,
Salt FM got you covered. 107 Kampala, 97.5 Mubende, 102.6 Mbale, 95 Mbarara, 98.2 Jinja, 90.3 Fort Poto. Advertise with us and make your business known to every Ugandan and the rest of the world. Soul Television, Femunyo.
Welcome from the break. This is the dialogue on Salt TV. My name is Apollo, and on the show this morning we have Honorable Joseph Ochieno, an ideologue of the Uganda People's Congress, but also a serious citizen, president in waiting, and Richard Baguma, a man of many hats in the studios, but also Dr. Gerard Wanzala, reflecting on the major events, especially the nominations for members of parliament, which was the exercise that was concluded this week, with the 6 now confirmed NRM candidates running unopposed, though there are people who still contest the process that brought some of these lucky candidates of the NRM. And we also contemplate on what now will come out of these presidential and parliamentary campaigns. The campaigns will kick off on 10th November, and that's when perhaps we will enter into a new phase of political campaigning in this country. And Richard, I want to hear from you.
Yeah.
What do you make of this process?
The process.
Others think
Yes.
that it's to some extent tells us or gives a picture of what we should expect even in the general elections. Seeing for the first time, I think it is for the first time, we are reflecting on events of 1980. I heard Honorable Cheno talk about it. Some people who were blocked on roadblocks, they were either blocked from nominations at
allegedly
roadblocks.
then.
Come again?
Allegedly then.
Allegedly.
Yes.
Okay.
Because nobody was blocked.
Oh. In 1980?
No. There is no evidence that anybody was deliberately blocked. And that was my experience.
But there are claims on record.
No, of course, there are claims on record.
Here
yes,
in Uganda, Busoga, and some people were stopped on roadblocks until nominations were concluded, and then...
That's a nonsense that this regime has not been able to establish, but we shall go there.
Richard.
Of course, I am incompetent to debate the saints of 1980, as according to the Honorable Ochieno.
How do you know? If you don't mind, actually, I basically used the word that I used on the Elder Community Forum the other day, that they were not saints, and then somebody picked it up. Anyway.
I am incompetent to comment on the saints of 1980 and before the 1960s. They are those saints that Ochieno we'll talk about all the time. He cannot, of course, miss the opportunity to talk about 1980, the very glorious days of the early 1980s. and it is his right to take every platform to try and bring back the glorious days of the 1980s. But the Nyamurunga days. But in the times that I have observed, we so far have had the calmest initiation of an election period in the time that I have been part of, that I have observed in my adult life. I think we have had the calmest time so far. Of course, everybody prays that it remains this calm or becomes calmer. Also, we have had extremely interesting divisions, both in the groups that seek to oppose President Museveni, but also within the President Museveni group too. So I think in this election, we have the highest number of independents than we have had previously. And yet the independents were high. If you look at the parliamentary, the way it's constituted, this parliament, the largest group that is not NRM is independents. So if independents were a party, they would be the leader of the opposition in parliament. So we have this, in my view, these two elements. But I also think that one of the things is, I think President Museveni sees less competition in this current election because of the just divisions I've talked about, that in the groups that stand to oppose him.
The opposition is fractured.
Yeah. The Eru group is also fractured. But the fractures in the opposition give a certain sense of security, of tenure to President Museveni. And I think that has a huge impact on the calm that we see now. One would have expected actually that you have, or expects that you may have more violence, constituency-based violence in the opposing groups than at the national level. And so if you have a strong contestant at the constituency level, and they think that the coming of Kyagulanyi to their constituency will give advantage to the opponent at the constituency level, then they will try to influence the local security systems to block them, and then conflicts. So it's likely. But you also see in the crowds, in their groups, it's likely that we will have some hate and violence, but which is inter-constituency or intra-constituency. I think also, Apollo, we don't talk about the sanctions that have been occasioned to leaders within the security agencies previously. Because that's a personal cost. It's a personal cost. You are a general, you are whatever, they put sanctions on you, they bite. Yeah, they bite. That's why you see people fight them so hard. So the others who are in position will see how isolated you were, how personally you have paid the price. They will be a little bit more careful in how much excesses they will occasion. So I also want to think that that has been a contributing factor.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
it's okay.
I don't know if this could be true, that the altercations that we see during such a period perhaps come from powers above. Because how comes that we've not seen some overzealous individuals, I mean, isolated incidents? We've not even seen isolated incidents. So that's why I get this feeling that perhaps it comes as a direct or an order that do this and then, because not even an RDC we've not had even not even an RDC or an overzealous official who has started a serious incident.
Yes,
I don't know.
So no, I have enumerated a few factors, but I was coming to that one. I also have conviction that it has been a strategy. That in the circumstances where you do not have a lot of threat on your seat, let these people go meet. You have already created adequate impediments. A shorter campaign time, squeezing them funds that may go to them, squeezing the people who would support them locally. You know, in some areas, people are really squeezed, the ones who would want to support some opposition groups. So squeeze them. So create impediments that are not necessarily of an open confrontation nature.
Yeah.
Yes, because if I'm squeezing your business as a general, and I know you have a hotel in Gulu, and I squeeze it. I will use taxes, I will use Gulu City sanitation officers. I will even have two guys fighting, and then we go to court against you. You will be careful how you politically you play. So some of these kinds of subtle squeezings have also played a part. So when you have a combination of all these factors, but there has also been, in my view, conviction, clear instructions to the security teams that since the threat is not so high, don't take intra-parliamentary partisan groups. Let these candidates come and go. They are not so much of a threat. Yeah, give them security, let them come and go. And don't give them mileage.
On this issue of nominations, like we said, there are some claims emerging that some were deliberately blocked.
But that's not new. There's nothing new in that one. Some people who have the muscle will deliberately block the others. That's not new. It will happen. It could
Has
have,
it happened
it
before?
could have easily, yes. Oh yeah, no, it has
it?
happened before. People have come unopposed in their constituencies because this one was this or the other one was that. This has happened. It's now clear because I think the media, the social media has been highlighting this very repetitively that it has happened. And you look at the lineup of people who are not opposed. By the way, even in the party positions, it started within the party positions. There are some people who have their party positions, ask Osheno, that even when you are elected and court declares so, you will not get the position. No, you won't get it.
Honorable Cheno is
Honorable Cheno. Yeah. So this blocking of legitimate competition is not new. This has happened for quite a time. So you will find that the NRM will have currently a line of unopposed MPs already. Yeah, but look at the profile. You either see the geographical area is where the opposition will not will be squeezed right from the community level. And even when you are opposing in your heart, you even fear to go cast the ballot because it will be you who will be known. All the constituencies of the mighty who use whatever means they use.
But Richard, this takes a new precedent. If we have even the Electoral Commission being implicated in...
That's also not new.
Sure.
You look at all the court judgments. We have had, we have had how many court judgments?
No, I'm talking about...
At the highest level.
I'm talking about this incident of candidates or aspirants being deleted from the register.
No, but you see, for me, it is... I'm not talking about the form.
Under questionable circumstances.
No, for me, I'm not talking about the form. No, that's one form.
He's talking about the principle of
I'm talking about the principle and processes. People have been locked out.
One way or another.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's another form of locking out. And it has been happening, and the Electoral Commission has been accused, it has been adjudged by courts. So for me, this is not new. This is not new. However, we must not be conditioned to accept it. Because we shall be like road safety. We shall be like road carnage. We again keep getting conditioned to accept this criminality, this injustice, this impunity. We get conditioned to accept it because it keeps happening again. We must be able to take a stand to resist it.
Sure. Viewers, you can be part of the discussion. Send in your comments, send the observations on 0701 609906. Send by WhatsApp, send by SMS, and we'll be reading those comments in the show, reflecting on the incidents and circumstances surrounding the nominations. NRM emerging, on top with already 6 unopposed members of parliament. And now they are assured of at least 6.
No, you have the interest groups, Apollo. They have more. You say actually 20.
Interest groups, sure. All right, let me hear from you.
So you expect to get opposition from the UPDF?
10 for UPDF.
10 already are there.
For UPDF.
And the interest groups?
But they are not NRM.
The workers, they are not.
Just for Cheno. Let me hear you speak about this process. How did you see this process in your own view?
But before I do that, you need to authoritatively record on your Hansard here what Richard says, that the number of unopposed positions are quite clearly NRA seats in the National Assembly automatically, including 10 from NRA, the army. And considering the tone of the conversation at the first phase, and considering how Richard himself has presented it, and I must say this, Richard, I was not going to say it today, but this guy here is NRA.
He's NRA?
Yeah, he's energy. But this guy is as objective a Ugandan as many of them do come.
Sure.
And my point is, I actually don't know whether people listen to Richard. Because the Ochenos of this world may talk and people say, that is them. So I think it's important to take this thing seriously. And so therefore, the context of this conversation is not that some of us are angry, as some of us are presented, as some of us possibly lost in direction. We just love this country more. And we were parents and grandparents, and in many cases we recognize that the future for this country is one for which we must net contribute. So lest we forget, particularly your younger viewers, including also the older ones, the guys who are pumping impunity, whether it's in the UPC, NRA, or any other political, indeed, community organization. So I think it's an important point to make. Because it was going around and around, lest people forget, and it really strikes me. Number two, when I talk about the 80s and some of the pasts, even if to help to contextualize, even in the very extreme, unlikely event that some of these things happened, there's no reason why we should be accepting them today, where the world sort of has moved on. Now, that said, something important is that for the first time in a very long time thus far, we may just about experience, hopefully, one of the most peaceful elections in recent times, certainly possibly, yes, since outside the two UPC ones in history. Now, if that happens,
outside the two UPC,
after the two that UPC won, because those
they were more calmer.
They're calmer than anything that has ever happened since then, and
including in the 1980 December election.
And honestly, my point is this: I really hope that this election can end as it is, and then possibly go ahead and beat 1980. This sort of is the point. And these things are possible, and they don't need to be violent. But I think the angle I was taking was, I'm sure on this program, you guys, I think those days, early part of the last 5 years, you're not inviting me, but I'm sure you here, as has been the case with many Ugandans, the violence around 2021 elections, forget about anything else, was massively, completely unacceptable. And I'm sure that the noises you people made in the Fourth Estate, leaders like themselves, some of us with our hoarse voices, we hope it has helped shape the contextual narrative and, if you like, the mode and mood in which we are. And if it has thus far contributed to that, then maybe what Richard was talking about, road safety and young era, that perhaps we are not wasting time. That we must continue
speaking
out in a decent way and respectful way, that maybe somewhere, somehow it works. I was in a conversation with somebody close to senior security establishment here, and the guy was trying to pick my thoughts. He was actually sort of taunting me. You guys of the opposition, serves you right, now you have nothing to write home about. So Richard, it's very interesting. So as Richard was telling him, aspect of this was genuinely schemed, that maybe let's manage it in this way.
Exactly.
But if we want to be fair to them, that it's not only let's manage it this way, I hope they realize that you do not need to maim people in order to remain in power.
That's why I said I have that conviction that it was an order from above, that please, let's manage it this way.
It may be that.
And that's why we see
it may be that. But I think from some of my analysis linked to Richard, it may also be the case that people are suddenly beginning to wake up to simply say that, well, do we have to go this way? So it may be an advisory, whichever way it is. It is where we are. During a certain by-election, I think I was going to go too close to it. In the last 4 years, There is a by-election in which the DISO refused orders from the establishment, said on the basis of the security information that I have and we have, whatever we do, we will not reverse this one. And I think if we go harder, it is going to be worse for us, both in the numbers and then the national political impact. So rather leave it like that. And I have it from top authority that that is what it was. The thing sort of was relatively left, and the results and outcomes were. In any case, as I said, from a National Assembly of 500 plus, you know, NRA is not threatened with losing 200 seats. Now, even if they lost 250 parliamentary seats, they will still not lose
They
parliament.
will still be a dominant force.
In fact, you know, if 250 is still, they will still have a majority. So why must it be a matter of life and death? So that's how I'm looking at it. So I hope that that is the more important point that comes out. But so far, so good.
What about this this urge to go unopposed?
Yeah, I'm coming to that actually. Gerald, the number minus the special interest groups, if you consider the size of parliament, is actually not as big. UPC had a relatively big, out of 126 parliamentary seats, we had 14 or 15 unopposed in 1980. And those unopposed, with the exception, as I said, which was contested in Dr. Moses Apiliga's, which he would still have won anyway, it was a guaranteed, genuine parliamentary seats for UPC, predominantly in the north and east. You know, other political parties couldn't just simply field candidates, and in any case, even if they did, they're bound to lose them anyway because of the level and strength of the party. So, sort of, first time, sort of mini credit to NRA, considering the extremes of how they've checked us, the opposition, and what they've done. It is possibly not a major thing to write on, particularly the 8. The special interest groups, I have an opinion about it, because I'm saying that possibly. These are positions we need to be reviewing.
The workers.
As we consider the size of parliament and reforming government, this is a UPC position. But also that even if it was not, the mode of elections, to make sure that they're much more likely accessible, as I think that my two colleagues were saying much earlier, the cost of parliament, the cost of politics. We genuinely need to be able to review this, because these positions are almost literally impossible for any other opposition, anybody in opposition sort of to win. I don't think that's a democracy. Now, there is this element of my fantastic, beautiful sister Mongi in Bukedia. I have argued, and I think it was around the time when Jacob Olanya died. Richard, the first time I had offered my sort of almost like free service, and it was almost going to be voluntary, pro bono, was when Olanya was a member of parliament. Not because of him, but partly because of the nature of him. That maybe I could work with him and he would not compromise me, nor would he try to blackmail me about whether or not Ochieno is whatever. So I was actually willing to support Parliament in terms of guiding them in training and so many other things, pro bono or otherwise. Now, speakers of Parliament in democracies, where they're real democracies, actually they're gentlemen and women's mini agreements. They need not necessarily be challenged in a way. I know a number of countries where they're not challenged, they're not subjected to elections. But you know, that is the disclaimer, my young friend, that the Speaker of Parliament, when they come into the National Assembly, they're first amongst equals, they're chairs of the Assembly, they're parents of the House, they're fair, they're decent, and whatever political party they come from, in any case, they should sometimes come even from the opposition. They will come and help the process in such a manner that you almost don't mind which political party they come from. That is why the statures usually of speakers of parliament are those members that other members see that this person here is parental, is guiding, is detailed, fair, impartial, is able to push the executive.
I hope that is possible where institutions are independent.
Yes. But like I said much earlier, there's no reason why institutions cannot be independent here, because they ever have been. And part of my point is that we should strive for that. And I'm saying that, unfortunately, if it was the case like that, we would not need to go through this extreme, distasteful process of seeking to delete people's names simply because we want a position. And then, again, as a contradiction to the position of the peaceful process thus far, if peaceful at all. You know, we put a disclaimer that if we say so, we mean average. You know, why would you need to go to those extremes? Why don't you employ other means to make sure that you win? You know, so unless there is something in some of these constituencies that we don't know, but from the powers that
could it be fear of competition?
But that's my point. Is it so? What is it? It's a competitive process. Politics is, and I'm saying, in this case, to be very direct in Anita's position, in Bukele, based on what we see and the power this woman is able to wield, including the National Assembly.
You would actually
to my
think
surprise,
she has an
yes,
edge.
I would not expect that she would not have the resources and capacity, the organization, to win. In Bukele. You know, fairly, you get 55%. You still have, it will still have been a win. So I don't know. So that worries me about whatever else is going to happen today. I hope, Gerald, again, that beyond these elections, regardless of the outcomes, that is one of the things that we need to be able to pick up and make it part of public policy.
Thank you, Richard.
Public policy conversation.
I will be reading the messages that are coming in. But I read a comment from your friend Obole. I mean, trashing all these claims as hatred and their messages.
Did you see how he was dancing?
as hate and orchestrated by opposition groups which have or who actually do not who do not in any way want Anita Among in office.
So, Apollo, my friend Chris was once a journalist and on talk shows like myself. He used to take certain positions, and they were very strong.
Like the ones that we are talking about.
He went into office and was actually hounded out, if you remember, and went on Katebe or wherever, and was rescued. And who rescued him? So I think it would be disingenuous on my part to expect him to speak differently. I would just be being a liar and truth. Not that I am a truth teller all the time, but I would be lying to say that my colleague Chris would speak differently. In fact, if he did, I may chastise him.
Let me read the comments from our viewers. Good morning, Apollo and the panelists. Thanks for the show. Elections. God have mercy on your people, for heaven's sake. Why don't these guys just remove these things and stop wasting our money in activities whose results are already predictable? You claim you have brought democracy, but you fear competition. Do these guys even understand the meaning of democracy? If there was a way of hitting someone speaking, a lot of this on TV, trust someone in Bukedea started saying, you need to edit this message. Lastly, may the souls of all those who perished in Kampala good highway accident rest in eternal peace. You didn't provide your... he's Team Major Joel. Team Major Joel, this time you're very...
He came with an accent.
He's mourning.
Good morning, Apollo and the panel. My condolences to the Ugandans who lost their dear ones in that tragic crash. My view on those road crashes is that we need to put road safety measures to work, like what Mr. Waguma and Dr. Wanzala are saying. Secondly, I'm worried that the dialogue is wondering why the 46 Ugandans who perished in the road crash were not recognized. Then we just forgetting that everyone, including our opposition members, are now focusing on how to return to parliament rather than minding about the safety of Ugandans. So saddening, cry our beloved country. I am Abel Keru Akampo Muza. Thank you so much, Abel, an ardent viewer there. Thank you so much for watching. Watching you live from Nyabikoni, Kabale town, Ndemere Justice.
Wow.
And he appreciates the panel. Thank you, Ndemere. Thank you for watching. And he says, good morning, sir. Okay, he's Ivan Rubanga. Ivan Rubanga says, thanks for the show. We are watching. Okay, thank you too. Thank you too. And I'll be reading the messages as they come in. Please tell us what you think about the nominations, the whole process, and what we may now expect as we go full blast in campaigns. We still have 20 minutes to go. Dr. Weri, can you respond?
Yeah, there is something that my elder brother there said that intrigued me, and I remembered something. That is about the speakership. If the offices we hold are the ones that drive us to do the kind of things that we are doing. Of course, the deputy speaker is also unopposed. And there is a candidate in Gulu, a party president of DP, who is telling voters that he also wants to be the speaker under transitional arrangement. Are people trying to watch their backs? If I have a competitor, probably are we in a mafia system that you fear your own government to that extent? Because in the 8th Parliament, we tried to do a study at the Africa Leadership Institute to try to make the conduct of Parliament more efficient. Because by that time, you'd find the whole year the Parliament has sat maybe 80 times, the plenary, and a lot of business not attended to, because the speaker and the deputy sometimes get busy and the house goes into recess. So one of the countries we benchmarked on, and this parliament, you see over 50 MPs coming from abroad every week from benchmarking. What I don't know is what they benchmark and what they're able to introduce to us here. But that time, in Zambia, we discovered that they have what they call actually a panel of speakers. They have a speaker, okay, who is elected by the whole house from the party with majority, and the deputy speaker. But they also have a panel of speakers. Two from these are drawn from senior members of the parliament, of the house. They're elected by the opposition and they're elected also by the ruling party. Now these two form a panel of speakers to be a kind of four. They are not paid a salary for a speaker, but they get some allowance. But the objective is they are respected on this side and also respected on this side. So sometimes they have to work by consensus, and when these two are absent, one of them may be picked to chair the house.
Like we have backbenchers in.
Exactly. But it's not an issue of a do or die. That without this is mine, I will kill someone for it. So I think these are some of the lessons we can we need to demystify some of these offices. I remember when we were piloting the parliamentary performance scorecard, the speaker then was secondary. The environment in parliament was so smooth that if you had a letter addressed to the speaker, you go through the channels and you didn't have to know anybody to go and meet Speaker secondary. And that was the culture. Clerk to Parliament, Tendakwire, was a gentleman. That Tendakwire, you would, before we publish our reports, we could sit with him. Then he said, so in the whole year we were able to do on 80 times. This is no, we need to improve. So taking that work of the civil society and other stakeholders as work of value and using it as an input to improve the functioning of Parliament. But subsequently, it started in the 9th Parliament, towards the end when Speaker Kadaga took over, 10th Parliament, the environment has become more hostile. Rumor mongering in the parliament. This one, Mama will hear you. What? The way people are recruited and arrive since then to date to work in parliament, I think our democracy is deteriorating, is retrogressing.
All right. Okay, I will pick some comments again. He says, good morning, Apollo. Okay, thank you so much for those deliberations. And hi to the president. I think he is referring to the to the president in waiting. I saw your counterpart breaking down the floor of parliament.
Who's my counterpart?
What is the name of that? What is the name of that viewer?
Let me check the status. Let me check the status. It didn't mention. Musa 99.
Okay. Musa, get in touch, please. Do get in touch. Yeah, thank you.
I said I saw the.
He was wondering who the counterpart.
I saw Honorable Akena break down on the floor of Parliament that he was also blocked from contesting, and it hurt him so much.
You know that it was rather odd. Those tears, odd, strange. But there's something else. I also genuinely felt quite sad because on the basis of what I know, and I'm sure...
Do you feel for him?
Both my colleagues are here giving you an answer. We know more than what is on the spaces. It's very sad because it's almost humiliating, particularly when we are not able to link the tears to the reality of facts. But I have known Jimmy. Jimmy is a colleague of mine, and I was telling somebody in UPC the other day that unfortunately, for me, now I realize that I know Jimmy less in the last 20 years than I did know him when his father was around. So in other words, I knew the best of Jimmy, that I thought, because some of what I see today is neither here nor there. I actually generally didn't know that Jimmy would break down in emotion, but I'm a tears man, just like Kaunda. So that's a bit strange. But this is the point. If you see from the beginning to the end, and I don't want to, at my position, I don't want to sound bad. It can't be a show. Generally, there's something going on. But in between that, you consider the messaging of the perceived and alleged injustice, and then Jimmy's demands almost a sense of entitlement. And considering what we've been discussing earlier, I don't think I should necessarily be any more restrained because it's merely UPC. I think it would be a bit irresponsible. No, Jimmy was not blocked. Jimmy is simply not UPC president. Jimmy in 2015, and maybe I use this because of time to conclude, in 2015, Jimmy was the most popular of all candidates who were then standing for president. I wasn't at the time. Jimmy won the majority of the district nominations at the time, allegedly. There are challenges to some of the districts in terms of irregularities, but by and large, I think he won the majority. But from then on the basis of our party constitution, after you've won the nomination for district, nomination from districts, you go to delegates conference, which delegates conference will have been called by the president of the party, which president of the party at the time was Olaro Tunu. And the delegates conference has got a right, if you're if you're two, go through an electoral process. If you're one, determine whether or not they confirm you or reject you. Or three, they've got the powers, including maybe asking for fresh nominations or possibly even electing from the floor. That is the power of that body. But that body, when formally, legally constituted on the basis of the constitution of the party, it didn't. So Jimmy usurped the powers of the constitution of the party, the powers of the president, appointed himself president. It's a fight thing. I was abroad doing some actual scholarly work. I was shocked who was advising my brother, because I genuinely knew that what he did.
His grievances are misplaced.
Yeah. Yeah, let me conclude. Let me just tell you for the purpose of your viewers. Quite clearly, I don't know who was advising him. Quite clearly at the time, he ought to have known that somebody was going to legally challenge it from UPC perspective, and he was challenged. And the courts agreed with the challenges that Jimmy was not. This process went, thanks to what my colleague here is referring to, 4 years of a pending appeal. 2020 Court of Appeal, in a very definitive ruling, simply dismissed my brother's application, asked for fresh elections. So since 2020, September 7th, a definitive confirmation that Jimmy is not president of the party. Asked for fresh elections which took place, which I won, hence my current position. But you realize, I don't go around parading myself as president. I'm saying that until I'm declared by, in this case, a competent organ of the party, or a competent court of law.
Okay.
And beyond that, I'm not prepared to do so. But I'm doing it in part for the younger citizens.
Our time is running out, Honorable.
But let me just conclude, because as I said, I'd rather you say this and then I don't have to say anything else. On the other, this guy continues for 5 years. He organizes an election, which he participates with Dennis Enap. Dennis is a lawyer, knowing very well that he was participating in illegality. But Dennis traps him. Once they've got themselves nominated, Dennis runs to court and says that, look, this guy is not supposed to stand because it's two terms things. Court agrees with Dennis on the basis of those technicalities. Jimmy is not president, and so that's the position now. The Electoral Commission this time did the right thing, which it has not been doing, by simply advising that, look, you don't qualify, you don't meet the criteria. On the other, as far as Mr. Museveni is concerned, possibly also Mr. Museveni did not do what normally he used to do for Jimmy. And that's really all the situation in the party.
Thank you. Our time is running out. Hello, Principal, and I am Juma Emmanuel from Busia. I think the so-called unopposed candidate should not be termed in such a way, but rather be termed as dictated candidates. The EC has not handled Bukedia matter very well at all. Thank you so much, Juma, in Busia. Thank you for the programs, Apollo. We appreciate you sincerely. Uganda, especially our government, needs to polish up. How can we lose 46 Ugandans, voters, and nobody cares? The only thing is to dash offering each 5 million shillings for burial and 1 million shillings for those in critical condition, of which their lives is not also guaranteed. Last time, why, I think that's a bus company, killed people in Buyukwe and nothing happened still. Ugandans, let's fight for our lives, always while on the roads. This is Stephen watching from Balala City. Thank you so much, Stephen. We must wind up because of time, and we only have less than 4 minutes. Richard, is the Electoral Commission at a test to respond perhaps to some of these issues, because they designated a period of petitions, and I hope many people will petition the EC. Just in 1 minute as we conclude.
No, I think the Electoral Commission has the easiest time this time. Yeah, I think the Electoral Commission is enjoying the very easy time this time.
They won't care.
No, I think they don't have many challenges to deal with, actually. I think they are so far they are really enjoying calm.
Won't these be serious issues of concern that
not for the Electoral
perhaps Commission. That would dent the credibility
not
of the
for the Electoral Commission. What could happen is that some of the people who are aggrieved will go to court and they will be given court awards, and those court awards, they can give you a court award and you don't get it.
Doctor, one just observation I saw, like in Kampala, 113 candidates were nominated for only 10 positions. I think that's an average of 10 people per position in Kampala. Is that good for this democracy? What do you think?
There's nothing wrong with people showing interest in leadership. The problem is when you want the leadership, what do you want to use that leadership for? Yeah. Because this is what is lacking in this country. That if seeking for leadership means going to parliament to earn money and work in the big club of big men and women, then that is absolutely different. But if many citizens show interest, I've seen where in other countries where many citizens show interest by contesting, is because either there is an issue, they're focusing on an issue that they need to change. Like if you saw the American election last year, the issues were so strong. Issues of, deportations, illegal immigrants, and what is like. So, but here, the mentality now in Uganda.
If I may ask you, looking at the people who are nominated for members of parliament,
yes,
are we going to have possibly a better and more organized, more people-centered parliament, the 12th parliament?
No, not really, because now check, some of these people, the reason why there are too many, like say NRM, the president who doesn't care about the discipline in his own party said, even you independents, you are free to campaign, because I agree with you, our internal elections had issues. Because he knows now all these independents who contested are all going to be campaigning for him. So he cares about the final outcome of him being elected, but through the people's participation. So our constituents where you find 4 people, but they're all NRM, or 5, they're all NRM. Just because they're now riding on the president's statement, he has allowed us to campaign. So I don't trust that such politicians are driven by anything that they're going to change. But it's just like playing poker. Will go next 5 years and earn some money. Let me try my luck. Men are there to do
Richard,
that.
your final word on this show?
One is that we remain this peaceful, or even become more peaceful. This would be an interesting election period. 2, the president, my president, President Yoweri General Museveni, you must allow and take active participation in the road safety of this country. We are dying senselessly, we are dying carelessly, we are dying unnecessarily. And while giving Mabugo and some money for contribution to health is appreciated very humbly, it is not taking us anywhere, Mr. President.
Honorable Chino, your final submission, just concluding remark.
Yeah, I just hope
few
that
seconds.
I just hope that no Ugandan dies between today and the election, and the elections, because in any case it's just basically a charade. I don't think anything is going to happen fundamentally. It's an election in which for the 3rd time there is no UPC candidate. It's an election in which there are no issues. Only a UPC candidate, particularly in the Cheno presidency, would have been one that shakes on major policy and reform and progressive policy agenda. That is not there. And then as long as that's not there, whatever the outcome, it's still going to be business as usual. This country genuinely, urgently needs a re-switch, a restart, for which we can begin to look at the big issues that affect our citizens come election time. And after for 63 years of independence, this country genuinely deserves more than what we have got at the moment.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you so much for being with us, viewers, and we now come to the conclusion of our debate this morning. I have to appreciate you all, those who participated in comments and observations. Thank you so much. And the panel here, it's always a pleasure. Richard, it's always a pleasure.
My pleasure.
Honorable Cheno, my pleasure.
Thank you.
Congratulations to those who were duly nominated. And now, let's hope the process will continue to be peaceful, because that's what we actually need as a country. Good afternoon. God bless you.